Hi everybody, thanks for joining me for my Bits and Bobs Progress video 30. And I love that you're continuing to be interested. It's those that have commented on my videos through the months. I think of you when I'm talking. I'm not looking at the cats and saying all this stuff. So it's nice to have you here. This week I'm going to work on the hot air balloon. I've already done a top, yeah, I can't even see the whole block on here. Here's the bottom. I've already stitched last week the top edge, about down to here. I have a few things to do before I can finish that job, like things that need to be tucked in. I kind of like to decide what I'm going to do here if I can, filling in that gap. I do think I want to feature that lace, but I think that's a little, doesn't need to be that much. What else? Down here I've got this is going to be on top, so that's okay. This is going to be under, so I need to, I think that's going to be under. I'll decide that. This over to this side. This lace here is tucked under, so I need to have it stitched down first, and the rest of it is just, yeah, on top. So that's my plan. I don't know how far I'll get, and I'm not rushing myself because this is a bigger block and there's lots to do, like getting these quilted down, these faux ropes. And at the moment, I can't think of what that is called. Something stash. That trim? I know I mentioned it another time because I had just recently learned it. And now it's gone from my brain. All right, something else I'm going to share at the beginning here is I've had the thought of doing some different other yo-yos. Like, I don't already have lots of yo-yos, but in things like make them out of colored laces, like these that I have. I don't have a lot, but I have these. This one's that wide. Not make them all the same size, just whatever on some of these, however wide they are that I have fabric wise. I love this gauze with the pin dot. Actually, if you can see it here, I used it as a bow. I made it into a bow. And so if I do make that into a yo-yo, which I probably will, I'll put the yo-yo on another part of the quilt. But yeah, there's another piece of lace that I might try. And then I also thought I have some fancier crazy quilter here, so I've saved or collected these kind of things, like this blue. To tell you the truth, if I had enough of this blue velvet, I would use it to trim around the edge, but I don't. But anyway, so I've got blue velvet, I've got this really lovely soft rose velvet, and some silks and noir. So I'm gonna try and make some yo-yos out of them and see how they turn out. Oh yes, and these patches. You want to know what these are? These have been saved for 30 years, maybe? Yes. That one's not very nice because of the stitching holes. Way back when, like I'm talking 30 years ago at least, I made a black and pink checker jacket, and I made it out of different fabrics of pink, not just cottons like these. And that, and I had I don't have any here, but I had an eyelet that was pink too that I used. No, none here. So I found these little scraps left over from that, and I thought, oh, those would be neat little yo-yos for this as well. I love using my bits and bobs that I've treasured and saved all these years. It's a lot of fun coming up with ideas on how to use them and have them in this thing I'm making, this lovely wall hanging. I am loving every moment. All right, I will go make some progress and I'll be back. I thought I'd start this next segment with the view out the window. We're about 12 hours into a 36-hour snowfall. Thankfully, it's light and fluffy, so it wasn't so hard to get what was there so far on the panels off the panels this morning. And hopefully maybe the wind that's making it very cold will blow the rest off as it falls. We'll see. But in the meantime, here's where I'm going with what I'm going to share now. Oh, messy, messy. That. Okay, let me go set up the camera properly and I'll be right back. I'll set up. I've been busy making yo-yos from interesting little gauzy fabrics and silks and laces, and here's what I've come up with, or what I've created. These are going to be filler pieces for my bits and bobs. So just the fact, I know, another yo-yo. This is what, the sixth variation of yo-yos I've done. But these will be fun to incorporate because they aren't cotton and they're interesting looking. And I dug out my jar of these buttons, and these just are screaming to work with these yo-yos. So that'll be fun, matching those up. Plus, of course, I still got bags of other buttons over here to choose from as their centers. And I think that's what I'm going to do with them all, is put a button center. I think that'll be fun. Something a little different I did with these. I started with a few cotton ones, like these two. And with cotton, the reason I have threads on all of them is because when I pull them and tie them, I leave the thread so that I can use it to sew the button or stitch it down. I mean, it's a matching thread already, so I just leave them, but that's why you see the mess of threads. So with these two cottony kind, I did them the way I usually do yo-yos, where I fold over about 1/8 of an inch, and so I don't have a raw seam, unless it's very tiny. When they're very tiny, then I do leave a raw seam. But what I found for the lacy and gauzy kind is they actually work better. Yes, they're going to show a raw seam, but they do work better, if I don't do they actually tighten up closer if I don't do the seam allowance and tuck it under. So since the button's going to be on it, I'm not that concerned, and I do like how it turned out better. All right. This is a how-to from my library of my site, in case you were wondering. Okay, so here's a lacy one I made. I just didn't pull it yet. So I start with the knot on the outside, and you can see the knot there. And I take my usual, it's about 1/8 of an inch across, 1/8 of an inch in from the edge. And with lace, there's not all complete fabric to put your needle through. So as best I can, I put it through the pieces of lace that are thicker. But when that's not possible, I just go through the gauze of the lace, or whatever, the netting of the lace. So it seems to have worked. Okay, and then once that's all done, and let's see if I can't get this without too much trouble. So I come back all the way around and go back to the side of what I want to show, not the inside, and I get the knot and the loose edge, and I just start pulling it, and it all collapses into itself like so. And then look at that, I just pull it and pull it and pull it, and then, and I'm not going to be able to do this on camera, I don't think, I tie a knot. This is hard. I'm doing it looking through the camera. You can see I'm not there. Okay. Let's see if I can't. There, okay. I did it. Okay, so I tie once tight. Hold it the best I can, which is fiddly sometimes. Then I tie it a second time to give it a knot. And then I'm ready. There. So that's how it finishes up. Could do it this way on the show that side too. I think the scrunchy side is the decorative part. Now, I did originally say I was going to try the velvet, and I did, but velvet does not scrunch up very well. So I abandoned that. I mean, literally, it's not. This is the best I can get it to scrunch up. So that's not going to work. So I'm going to save this piece and do maybe something else with it. I'm going to think about that still. I haven't come up with something. And then the tiny ones. I wanted a really dark blue yo-yo, but I didn't have any wide dark blue lace. Or I don't think I do. I can't even think where to look for it. So I made a tiny little one with this not so wide lace. Just went with as wide as the lace was, and that's, oops, this is how it turned out. It's a cute little one. And then because of that, I had this ribbon sitting close. It's a wire edge ribbon. So I just cut a circle of that and made a little yo-yo of it as well to have an extra little blue one. Okay. I'm going to see how much of my balloon I can get done before I have to upload. It's a good day for hand stitching because of all that snow. I will be back. This is pretty much, our snow has ended, and this is the next day. And I thought I'd share with you what it looked like with all the rest of the snow. Can you see how much higher it is up that pole? That's an old bird feeder pole. Yeah, it's still light and fluffy, thankfully, I think. I haven't gone out and done cleared the solar panels yet. That's still to come. But I thought I'd share with you what it looked like after a 36-hour snowstorm. This is the final segment because I have to get this video uploaded. I'm showing you what progress I made. So I got the whole collar stitched down. I'm happy with that. And then because it's tucked under here, I had to get this done. And I had the similar one over in this corner. Let's see if I can pull it up without making too much of a mess. There it is. It was on blue velvet. And on this one let's see, can you see? The red stitching, cat here. The red stitching, and then the white French knots in the corner to match the green, to match this. But I wanted to do something slightly different for this one. The more variety to look at, the more interesting this piece is going to get. So I still did the stitching, but I did it in a raspberry red, which I've got a few bits here and there, so it isn't just all pink. And then to do it slightly different, I went around the decal and I took a stitch in the raspberry between the little knobs and the middle cameo, and that added, oh, and I put the raspberry colored French knots in the corner instead of making them cream. And I really like how that turned out. Originally I had put a dark blue up against, where is that? Thinking I might use dark blue as the stitching, but it just felt wrong. So and I also considered a light blue, but again, when I auditioned it, the raspberry was the best. The only thing that's bugging me is this one little stitch here that I didn't go down in the right place, but oh well. I had done the French knot after, and there's no coming back with your thread if you do a French knot, so I wasn't going to remove it and start over or anything like that. But what I have already decided, I originally was thinking of, deciding what all goes here, but I don't want to decide that now. But I have decided that I am going to use those little 4-petal yo-yos I made earlier and put a little cluster of 3 like that right there. That'll take care of covering up that stitch that I don't love. And then I'm going to, you might remember, I'm going to put one of these beads in the center of each of those 3. So that's the progress I've made this week. I hope you enjoyed, and yeah, happy stitching this week. Come back next week for some more progress. Thanks for watching. Bye.